The alert came during the graveyard shift at Orbital Defense Station Lima. Lieutenant Sarah Chen was halfway through her third cup of synthetic coffee when the proximity sensors lit up like a Christmas tree. The object materialized just beyond lunar orbit, its trajectory suggesting deliberate placement rather than random drift. "Contact bearing 039er," Chen announced, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Mass signature suggests artificial construction. Size approximating civilian cargo vessel class." Colonel Marcus Reynolds leaned forward in his command chair, dark eyes fixed on the main display. After 20 years in orbital defense, he'd learned to trust his gut. Something about this felt wrong. The object's surface showed no signs of propulsion, no radiation signature, nothing to indicate how it had appeared so suddenly in Earth's backyard. "Launch probe array Delta," Reynolds ordered. "Full spectrum analysis. And get me a direct line to UNSPACE command." The next 12 hours transformed human history. The vessel, if you could call it that, was essentially a massive container, roughly cylindrical, its hull covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and change under different wavelengths of light. Initial scans revealed no life signs, no power signatures, and no obvious means of propulsion. It was, for all intents and purposes, a ghost ship. Dr. Elena Torres, the station's chief xenotechnologist, led the first boarding party. As their shuttle approached the mysterious vessel, she couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched. The hull's surface was oddly pristine, lacking the micrometeorite impacts typical of space debris. "Look at this," Torres whispered, her suit lights illuminating what appeared to be an airlock mechanism. "The configuration. It's almost like it was designed for us to find." The interior of the vessel defied explanation. Corridor after corridor of what appeared to be storage units, each sealed with the same shifting symbols they'd observed on the hull. But it was the contents that left the boarding party speechless. Each unit contained what appeared to be broken or partially disassembled technology. Devices, components, and materials unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. "It's a dump," Lieutenant Chen said, her voice tight with anger as she examined one of the units. "They're using our orbit as a garbage disposal." Dr. Torres wasn't so sure. Her decades of experience studying theoretical alien technologies told her something else was at play. The damaged components were too precisely arranged, the breaks too clean. This wasn't random space junk. It was a message. Back at the station, Colonel Reynolds received the preliminary analysis with growing concern. The technology aboard the vessel, even in its apparently damaged state, was centuries beyond Earth's current capabilities. But more worrying were the patterns Dr. Torres had identified in the shifting symbols. "They're trade markers," she explained during the emergency briefing. "This vessel belongs to a species that calls themselves the Mercantile Collective. From what we can decipher, they're essentially galactic traders who evaluate emerging civilizations by testing them." "Testing them how?" Reynolds asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. "They leave what appears to be damaged or worthless technology in the path of developing worlds," Torres continued. "How those worlds respond determines their value as potential trading partners. Most species either worship the technology without understanding it, or they miss the real value entirely." Chen finished. "They see garbage, and that's all they ever see." Reynolds stood at the viewport, watching the distant shape of the alien vessel gleam in Earth's reflected light. "And what do you think we're dealing with here, Doctor?" Torres smiled, her eyes bright with anticipation. "What I think, Colonel, is that we've just been handed the greatest opportunity in human history. These aren't broken components. They're puzzle pieces. The collective isn't testing if we can use their technology. They're testing if we can understand it. And more importantly, if we can see beyond the obvious." As if to emphasize her point, one of the storage units they'd brought back for analysis began to pulse with a soft light, responding to the specific frequency of Earth's electromagnetic field. The damaged technology wasn't just repairing itself. It was adapting, evolving, becoming something new. They think they're evaluating us, Torres said, watching the components reconfigure themselves. But I don't think they have any idea what humans are capable of when presented with a puzzle. Reynolds nodded slowly, already composing his report to UNSPACE command in his mind. The Mercantile Collective had just made a crucial mistake. They'd assumed that humanity, like so many species before them, would see only what was on the surface. They hadn't counted on humanity's greatest strength, the ability to find possibilities in the impossible. The race was on. Earth had been given its first test in galactic politics, and failure wasn't an option. As news of the discovery spread to research facilities worldwide, humanity prepared to show the galaxy exactly what happened when you underestimated a species that had turned survival into an art form. The Mercantile Collective's test was about to become humanity's triumph. Dr. Maya Patel hadn't slept in 3 days. The holographic displays surrounding her workstation pulsed with alien symbols, each set seemingly more complex than the last. But she'd found something, a pattern in the chaos that nobody else had noticed. The symbols aren't just labels, she explained to the assembled team of scientists and military officials. They're instructions, but not in the way we initially thought. The conference room at the newly established Collective Analysis Center fell silent. For 6 weeks, the best minds on Earth had been studying the alien vessel's contents, making remarkable progress in understanding the technology itself. But the symbols remained a mystery, until now. Look here, Maya continued, manipulating the holographic display. We've been treating each symbol as a distinct unit, like letters in an alphabet. But they're more like cells in an organism. They respond to each other, change based on context. It's not just a language. It's a programming code written in 4-dimensional space. Colonel Reynolds leaned forward, his expression intense. Can you decrypt it? Maya's tired face broke into a smile. Better. We can communicate with it. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. James Chen, Lieutenant Chen's father, and a pioneer in quantum computing, had noticed that the shifting symbols responded to specific electromagnetic frequencies. By modulating these frequencies, they could influence how the symbols changed. It's like a lock-and-key system, James explained, his weathered hands gesturing animatedly. The collective left us a library of technological blueprints, but they encoded it in a way that requires understanding principles of quantum mechanics, electromagnetic theory, and advanced mathematics just to access it. A test within a test. Dr. Torres mused. They're not just evaluating our ability to use their technology, but our fundamental understanding of the universe itself. The implications were staggering. Each storage unit in the vessel contained not just physical technology, but encoded information about dozens of alien civilizations, their technological development, and their interactions with the collective. The garbage they'd been given was actually a comprehensive database of galactic knowledge, if they could fully decode it. Working around the clock, teams of linguists, physicists, and computer scientists began developing new algorithms to interpret the alien data. They discovered that each piece of damaged technology was actually a physical key designed to unlock specific portions of the database when properly understood and reconstructed. They're teaching us, but not in a linear way, Maya explained during one late-night session. It's more like they've given us a puzzle box. Each solution reveals new puzzles, new challenges. But here's the fascinating part. The solutions we're finding aren't necessarily the ones they intended. She pulled up a simulation showing how one of the reconstructed devices interfaced with the symbol matrix. See this. The original configuration was clearly designed for a specific purpose, but when we approached it from a different angle, applied principles they might not have considered. The simulation showed the device performing at nearly twice its apparent intended efficiency. Human innovation wasn't just solving the puzzles, it was finding new possibilities within them. Dr. Torres had been right. The collective had created a test that went beyond simple technological capability. They wanted to see how a species thought, how they approached problems, how they innovated. But they hadn't anticipated humanity's unique approach to problem-solving. Where other species might have seen broken pieces to be restored, humanity saw opportunities for improvement. Where the collective expected linear progress through their carefully designed challenges, Earth's scientists were finding shortcuts, alternate solutions, and entirely new applications for the technology. The symbols themselves became a key to understanding the collective's mindset. Their language code revealed a species that prized order, hierarchy, and predetermined paths of development. But humanity's chaotic, innovative approach was producing results that likely hadn't been imagined by the test's designers. "We're not just passing their test," Maya told Colonel Reynolds as they reviewed the latest breakthroughs. "We're rewriting it." The implications of this discovery spread rapidly through the scientific community. Earth's governments, initially fractious in their response to the alien vessel, began pooling resources and sharing discoveries. The race to understand the collective's technology had evolved into something more profound, a demonstration of humanity's unique potential. But even as Earth celebrated its progress, questions remained. Why had the collective chosen this moment to make contact? What were they really looking for in their tests of emerging civilizations? And perhaps most importantly, what would they do when they discovered that humanity wasn't following their carefully planned script? As Maya stared at the ever-shifting symbols, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to find out. The real test wasn't in solving the puzzles. It was in what humanity would do with the solutions they discovered. The first successful test of reverse-engineered collective technology didn't occur in a government lab or military facility. It happened in a converted warehouse in Lagos, where Dr. Oluwaseun's son Adebayo had assembled a team of unconventional thinkers from across Africa. Traditional engineering approaches weren't working. Sun explained to the holographic gathering of global project leaders. We needed to stop thinking like students trying to copy the teacher's work and start thinking like artists interpreting a theme. The device his team had created looked nothing like its collective counterpart. Where the alien technology was sleek and standardized, this was an organic-looking blend of terrestrial and reverse-engineered components, but the results were undeniable. Energy output exceeding original specifications by 40%, reported Dr. Torres, who had flown to Lagos to verify the results personally. And it's not just more powerful, it's more stable, more adaptable, and significantly easier to manufacture using Earth's existing industrial capabilities. The breakthrough sparked a revolution in how humanity approached the collective's gifts. Research teams worldwide began abandoning attempts to merely reconstruct the alien technology. Instead, they focused on understanding the underlying principles and reimagining them through human eyes. In Mumbai, a team led by Dr. Priya Shah discovered that the collective's quantum communication systems could be modified to create a network that was not just faster than traditional methods, but inherently secure against any form of interception. The key had been incorporating principles of Indian classical mathematics that predated modern computing by centuries. Meanwhile, in Santiago, Dr. Carlos Mendoza's team had cracked another piece of the puzzle. They found that the seemingly random distribution of damaged components in the alien vessel actually formed a star map when properly assembled. But it wasn't just any map. They'd given us the locations of every civilization they've tested, Carlos announced during an emergency session of the United Nations Space Council. And more importantly, they'd shown us which ones failed their tests and what happened to them afterward. The implications were chilling. Civilizations that failed the collective's tests weren't just passed over for trade opportunities. Many of them had stagnated or collapsed entirely, their development arrested by their inability to grasp the opportunities presented to them. But humanity wasn't about to become another failed experiment. The global response to the collective's challenge had unleashed something unprecedented, a wave of cooperation and innovation that transcended national boundaries and traditional rivalries. Maya Patel's linguistic breakthrough had led to the creation of a new field of study, quantum linguistics. The shifting symbols weren't just a code to be broken. They were a bridge between human consciousness and the fundamental forces of the universe. Research teams found that by understanding the language, They could manipulate reality itself at the quantum level. It's not magic, Maya insisted during a particularly heated scientific debate. The collective discovered that consciousness, language, and quantum mechanics are all interconnected. They built their technology around this principle, but they've become so dependent on their standardized approaches that they've stopped exploring new possibilities. This insight proved crucial when James Chen made his own breakthrough in quantum computing. By combining human binary computing principles with the collective's quantum language, his team created hybrid systems that could process information in ways that neither human nor collective technology could achieve alone. "We're not just learning their technology," James told his daughter during a rare quiet moment. "We're evolving it. Every solution we find creates new possibilities they never imagined." Lieutenant Sarah Chen, now promoted to captain, understood the military implications better than most. The collective's tests had revealed their greatest weakness, their rigid adherence to established patterns and hierarchies. Humanity's chaotic creativity wasn't just solving their puzzles, it was revealing ways to transcend them entirely. But time was running out. Analysis of the vessel's quantum signature suggested that the collective would return within months to evaluate Earth's response to their test. The question wasn't whether humanity would be ready. It was whether the collective was ready for what humanity had become. In research centers around the world, new technologies were emerging that combined human ingenuity with collective principles in ways that defied conventional understanding. The garbage they had been given had become the seeds of a technological renaissance. Colonel Reynolds, watching the latest test of a hybrid defense system, couldn't help but smile. The collective had intended to test humanity's worthiness for trade. Instead, they had catalyzed a transformation that would reshape the galaxy's balance of power. The real question now wasn't whether humanity would pass their test. It was whether the collective would recognize the new rules of the game before it was too late. They arrived exactly as predicted, their massive trading vessel emerging from quantum space in a display of calculated precision. The collected ship dwarfed their previous gift, its perfect geometric lines and standardized markings declaring its creator's love of order and hierarchy. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the ESS Prometheus, Earth's first hybrid tech vessel. Unlike the imposing bulk of the collective ship, the Prometheus looked almost organic, its quantum crystalline hull shifting colors like the surface of a soap bubble. "Collective vessel is broadcasting first contact protocols," reported Maya Patel, now serving as the ship's communications specialist. "Their language patterns indicate surprise. They weren't expecting us to be able to intercept, let alone understand their transmissions." Colonel Reynolds, watching from Orbital Defense Station Lima, allowed himself a small smile. "Let's show them what else they weren't expecting. Captain Chen, you have authorization to proceed with Operation Looking Glass." The Prometheus's response to the collective's transmission wasn't just a message, it was a demonstration. Using the quantum linguistic principles Maya had discovered, they'd broadcast a reply that contained not just words, but embedded technological innovations that the collective had never seen before. The effect was immediate. The massive trading vessel's orderly approach faltered, its perfect trajectory showing a momentary wobble that revealed their shock. When their response came, it carried the unmistakable signatures of multiple voices arguing in their command structure. "They're splitting into factions," Maya reported, reading the quantum fluctuations in their transmission. "Some want to proceed with their standard evaluation protocols. Others are demanding immediate containment measures. They're afraid of us." Dr. Torres's voice came over the secure channel from her position at the Lagos Research Center. "They should be. The technology they gave us as a test. We'd gone beyond it in ways they never imagined. Sun's team just confirmed that our hybrid systems are operating at 300% of their theoretical maximum efficiency." The collective's next transmission was more composed, but underlying frequencies betrayed their agitation. They demanded an explanation of how humanity had achieved such advances in mere months, clearly expecting to catch Earth in some form of deception. Earth's response came not just from the Prometheus, but from research centers around the planet. Each facility transmitted data in the collective's own quantum language, showing exactly how humanity had not just solved their puzzles but transcended them. "We understand now," Chen broadcast, using the full spectrum of quantum linguistics. "Your tests weren't just about technology. They were about control. You give species just enough to see if they'll follow your predetermined path of development. But humanity doesn't follow paths. We forge them." The collective's response was immediate and harsh. Their massive vessel began charging what appeared to be weapon systems, its perfect geometry now radiating threat rather than order. But they had miscalculated again. "Now, Dr. Adebayo," Chen ordered. From the Lagos facility, Sun's team activated their hybrid quantum network. Instantly, the threatening display from the collective ship flickered and died. Their perfect systems, so dependent on standardized protocols and hierarchical control, found themselves entangled with human chaos theory and quantum uncertainty. Impossible. Came their next transmission, the quantum frequencies chaotic with disbelief. "Our systems are perfect, standardized, tested across 1,000 worlds." "That's exactly the problem," Maya replied, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface. "You've been so focused on perfection that you've forgotten how to adapt. Every species you've tested, you've judged by how well they could follow your rules. But humanity, we don't just break rules, we rewrite them." The demonstration that followed wasn't just a show of force. It was a revolution in physics itself. The Prometheus executed maneuvers that the collective's rigid understanding of space-time insisted were impossible. Earth's hybrid technology didn't just match their advanced systems, it rendered them obsolete. "We're offering you a choice," Chen broadcast, her ship now positioned in a way that made the collective's size advantage meaningless. "You can continue trying to control how species develop, forcing them into your perfect, predictable patterns. Or you can join us in discovering what's possible when you embrace chaos, creativity, and collaboration." The silence that followed lasted nearly an hour. When the collective finally responded, their transmission carried something they had likely never sent before: humility. Perhaps their message read, "It is time for us to learn a new way of trading." As celebrations erupted across Earth, Chen exchanged glances with Maya. The collective had come to evaluate humanity's worthiness as trading partners. Instead, they had discovered something far more valuable: proof that their entire approach to galactic civilization needed to change. The age of standardized development was over. Humanity had shown the galaxy that true progress came not from following predetermined paths, but from daring to imagine new ones entirely. 1 year after the collective's historic encounter with Earth, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The massive trading hub orbiting Jupiter stood as a testament to this transformation, a structure that combined collective efficiency with human creativity in ways that defied conventional understanding. Dr. Maya Patel stood at the hub's quantum observation deck, watching ships from dozens of civilizations dock and depart. Some bore the perfect geometric patterns of collective design, while others showed the organic, adaptive aesthetics that Earth had pioneered. But most interesting were the hybrid vessels that demonstrated both influences. "The collective's latest report just came in," Captain Chen said, joining her at the window. 3 more failed civilizations have made breakthrough advances using our hybrid teaching methods. Turns out when you stop testing species and start collaborating with them, amazing things happen." The teaching methods Chen referred to had become Earth's most valuable export. Rather than following the collective's old practice of leaving damaged technology as tests, humanity had developed a new approach: open collaboration with emerging civilizations, sharing not just technology, but ways of thinking. "Did you see Dr. Adebayo's latest project?" Maya asked, pulling up a holographic display. "His team in Lagos is working with the Proxima Centauri colonies to develop quantum architecture that responds directly to conscious intent. They're literally building cities that grow and adapt based on their inhabitants' needs." The display showed structures that seemed to dance between states of matter, their forms shifting and flowing like liquid crystal. It was technology that neither humanity nor the collective could have developed alone. But together, they were pushing the boundaries of what was possible. In Mumbai, Dr. Shah's quantum communication network had evolved into something unprecedented, a galactic internet that transmitted not just data, but consciousness itself. Species that had once been isolated by the vast distances of space could now share experiences, knowledge, and perspectives instantly. The collective's Council of Standardization officially dissolved last week, Chen noted with a slight smile. They're replacing it with something called the Innovation Exchange. Apparently, they finally realized that progress isn't about following a predetermined path. It's about exploring all possible paths simultaneously. But perhaps the most profound changes were happening on smaller scales. Dr. Torres, now heading the Interspecies Technology Integration Program, had discovered that every civilization approached problems in unique ways. By combining these different perspectives, they were solving challenges that had stumped the galaxy's brightest minds for millennia. Remember how afraid they were of us at first? Maya mused, watching a group of collective merchants excitedly discussing quantum linguistics with a team of Earth scientists. They thought our chaos would destroy their perfect system. Instead, it gave their system new life. The evidence was everywhere. Collective ships now incorporated human-inspired adaptive systems. Earth vessels used collective quantum principles in ways their inventors had never imagined. And new civilizations were emerging into the galactic community not as test subjects, but as equal partners in an ongoing journey of discovery. James Chen's hybrid computing systems had evolved into a new field of study, consciousness computing. By combining human intuition, collective precision, and the unique perspectives of dozens of alien species, they were beginning to understand the very nature of intelligence itself. The Proxima colonies are reporting another breakthrough, Captain Chen announced, reading from her quantum feed. They found a way to stabilize quantum entanglement across parallel universes. The collective says it's impossible, of course. Maya laughed. Give them time. They're learning that impossible just means no one's found the right combination of chaos and order yet. From their observation point on the trading hub, they could see Earth in the distance, its night side glittering with the lights of a civilization that had transformed itself in just over a year. But more impressive were the streams of ships arriving and departing, each one carrying new ideas, new possibilities, and new ways of seeing the universe. The collective had intended to test humanity's worthiness to join their carefully ordered galaxy. Instead, humanity had shown them, and everyone else, that true worth wasn't measured by how well you could follow existing rules, but by how bravely you could imagine new ones. As a ship from one of the newly emerging civilizations docked at the hub, its design and beautiful blend of multiple influences, Maya thought about the message they'd found hidden in the collective's original gift. They had been looking for species worthy of joining their trade network. What they'd found instead was a species worthy of helping them transcend it. You know what the best part is? Chen said, watching the new ship's crew disembark. This is just the beginning. We've got a whole universe of possibilities to explore. Maya nodded, her quantum linguistics interface showing her the symphony of ideas and innovations flowing through the hub. The collective had given humanity a test, hoping to find good trading partners. Instead, they'd found something far more valuable. Proof that the greatest discoveries come not from following paths, but from daring to blaze new ones. The galaxy would never be the same. And that, everyone agreed, was exactly how it should be.